Just detoured my mind a little bit on maybe not being as creative as I thought I was.
Oh, I think people in construction are some of the most creative people out there.
I am a big, with my team, don't bring me problems.
Mm-hmm.
You want to bring me a problem? That's fine. Just have a couple of working solutions. Well, I'll sit here and we'll talk about good, bad, pro, cons, whatever, to all of these solutions. But for the love of God, don't just bring me the problem.
But I think you're a good example of just like, well, I'm just going to start somewhere.
And I'm like the most awkward when it comes to putting myself out there.
Yeah.
Like, although people look at me, they're like, you're kind of an extrovert, like hardcore.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Are you?
I guess you would say that.
Do you get energy from being with people?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
People would say so.
Yeah.
But personally, with dealing with people, as much as I have over the last 10 years, I just want to be in the woods by myself. You know what I mean? Got a little bit introvert on me.
I think that's where people, I think people mess the definition up, though. I think it's really what gives you energy. And some people really need to be around people to get them jazzed up. I think everybody needs to be around people. I think being isolated is like the worst form of torture imaginable. That's what solitary confinement's for. But me, I'm like, I very, very much have a social battery. And when it goes to zero, I don't want to deal with a fucking soul. I'm done, dude.
Yep.
And it's just, and I would get in trouble. I was dating this girl in college, and so we would be going to these parties, and I at this point I didn't drink the first few years of college.
Mm-hmm.
Then I drank a little bit towards the end, but whether I was sober, drinking, whatever it was, we'd go to these house parties, and I did the fraternity thing for 2 years.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, but I was like I was a black sheep.
Yeah.
And so the writing was on the wall 2 years in. I was like, oh no, I made it 3 semesters. So I made it 3 semesters, and at that point I was like, I'm
sorry, boys.
I shouldn't be here. Yeah, like I don't belong here. So I dropped out. But you still know who's who, and you go to these every once in a while. I wouldn't be all that often, but anyway, it would get to like 11:30, parties just starting to get
riled up, and I just at like a certain point, it would vary in the evenings, but I would just like, I'm fucking out of here, done.
And I would then I'd go like hide in the backyard and would just like sit by myself,
nipple a beer.
Yeah, it
so
was
nobody bug you.
Awesome, loved it. Especially if I was a little buzzed, that'd be even cooler. I'd be like, this is great. Like, this is so cool. Then like the juxtaposition, like this quiet night, it's in the dark, and just this chaos going on 15 feet from you within this shitty house in Tempe, Arizona, with a bunch of just wasted college kids,
frat boys.
Yeah,
that's what we call them.
Yeah, it was great, but I didn't. The point of the story is I didn't really recognize what was going on. I would it would just almost be automatic. I would just have to get out of there. Mm-hmm. But then I started to figure out, wait a minute, no, this is how I operate. I'm introverted. Yep. I can manage it better now. I'm not just going to be like at dinner with you last night, go into the bathroom and then just leave. Like,
I was like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I didn't know we were leaving. I just thought I was being rude.
It's not going to be like that. But also, Jack, if you're listening, can you see if you can turn the air conditioning down? Make sure it's down. I just forget about it every time.
Thank you, Jack.
Where was I going? But now I know how to manage it better, but I'm aware of it, which is great. Like, once you understand how you operate, you can work with it rather than against it.
Yep.
And I think life starts to become pretty cool.
Works for you. You start, instead of questioning in your mind of, why am I like this?
Yeah.
Instead of, now you're using it almost like a subliminal force that you have, because I think the self-awareness thing, like you just said, dude, is so huge. And I think age in general, 30s hit hard, and you have to deal with all these self-realizations, and then anybody that's in business on top of that, it's just so fast and in a hurry. But social battery, got to be around people, no doubt about it. But I have that switch, man, where I'm like, no, I'm done. I've learned how to manage it, though. That's a good way of saying it. Sure. And how to manage it before I hit that switch, because when I hit that switch, I just don't care. You know what I mean? I'm like, bye-bye.
If you go over the you go over the cliff, it's like
quick.
You got to recognize, hey, it's coming up, and then that's the sweet spot. Like, okay, I can act before this happens.
That's right.
I'm in control here. But if you go over, nah, you're
alcohol, man, no.
Well, especially when there's alcohol involved, all rationality's out the window.
It was bad.
In control.
It was bad for this guy.
Yeah.
So that's why I'll socially drink. I'll socially drink a little bit. I used to be a decent drinker. I don't know how you say that, but never alcoholic status or nothing like that. Every night, dude.
Every night, yeah.
12-pack was easy. But when that brown water came in, brown water magician is what my wife called me, and I wasn't proud of that. And started having young, we've got 3 kids, me and my wife, been married 11 years now, coming up, and those young babies, man, they start changing you real quick. And I was looking at them one night, and I was just like, all this ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I'm missing moments in my life because I want to have a beer. And it's with me, I'm that type of person, just like you were talking about, social battery. If I drink a beer, everybody else drinks a beer, and it goes up a notch, I ain't stopping at one, dude. We're going to have a night. And I couldn't learn to control it. And
12 would kill me right now.
Me and you both, bro. I wouldn't move for 2 weeks.
Dude, I would be, I'd put me in the hospital. Like,
literally.
I don't even, but that's just a lot of carbonation, too. I don't even know if I could put 12 down.
And I wonder why I had so many stomach issues, and I'm just never hungry. Yeah, it was terrible. But that is some big self-awareness for myself that it just wasn't worth it. And then now I've harnessed it, and I'm like, oh.
Well, you're just like I don't know why you would intentionally like mute life.
Ooh.
Because you're. And I get it. Like, I understand why people do it. And alcoholism's a real thing. And pain in life, real thing. Like, I totally understand it.
Yeah, I sympathize.
I will never judge someone heavily drinking.
Nope.
I get it. But you're not just numb while you're drinking. You're numb the whole next day until you're drinking again.
That's right.
Like, and then you're not sleeping well.
Nope.
Because alcohol really fucks your sleep up.
Oh.
So it's the whole 24-hour period every day that you're just intentionally, whether you know it or not, just dimming. Like you're taking the dimmer switch and just pulling it down. And it just, I feel like mutes everything, which is crazy.
Man. That's crazy. That's a good way of saying it. Yeah. But zero judgment here on this side. I still got buddies that'll sit there and pound them away as I'm sitting there talking with them. It is what it is, and zero judgment. But no, for me in my life and everything that I've been trying to do over the last 10 years, like it had to fade. Sure. You know what I mean? I couldn't just. You're right. 24 hours. I can't wake up the next day and be 150% to go win the day, whether it's pushing dirt, laying pipe, video, whatever it is. No, I can't have that. No. Hold back, and especially when it's self-inflicted.
Well, that's the thing, and I'm like, I'm a fucking dummy, and so I need every advantage I can get. So drinking, like, why am I gonna give myself a disadvantage? Is how I see it. That's why I stopped, because it's like I'm giving myself a disadvantage in life right now, and I can't afford that. I'm not good enough for that.
That's right.
One, I'm not good enough for that. Two, that's not going to get me to where I need to be. 100%. So it just doesn't math. And maybe it's too extreme. Like maybe there's an opportunity to enjoy it every once in a while with the right people and the right atmosphere. I'm starting to maybe go down that path. I don't know yet. I know I'm not an alcoholic. Like I've always been able to just turn it on, turn it off.
Me and you both.
Not even fucking think twice about it. I don't have I'm so grateful for that.
My dad was bad.
Yeah, it's crazy though. You start talking about it, there's not a single person that's like, yeah, I've actually never dealt with alcoholism anywhere ever. Everybody.
It's bad.
Everybody.
It's funny. It's not funny. I shouldn't say funny. That's a bad choice of words there. But when, small shorts or whatever, and you're watching a group of individuals at an AA meeting or NA meeting, and they're all discussing their, what brought them there. And these drug users will always turn to an alcoholic and go, man, I'm sorry. Because that alcohol, man, I couldn't even imagine having to deal with alcoholism and being sober, and it literally be in the gas stations,
everywhere,
restaurants. Like, at least somebody that comes clean, say, off of meth, you've got to go out and search it actively.
Yeah.
But with alcohol, it is in front of your face 24/7 a day.
And that's how people get together. Like, again,
you want to go to dinner? What do you do at dinner?
It's isolating in a way. I mean, you lose if you stop drinking. Like, you lose. That's something you lose friends over.
Yep.
Because that's the foundation of the friendship. Is especially for men. I mean, men and women. I guess it's no different, but different drinking typically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Men are more Busch Light.
Busch Latte.
Yeah. But. I mean, like that's the foundation of a lot of relationships. So you pull the rug from underneath. There's nothing else there.
Yeah, and they just sit. Yeah.
Yeah. And
if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah. But it's easier said than done
100%.
Because then you've got crabs in the bucket. Like, you try to get out of the bucket, and they're like, no, come back down here. Hey, we've got a good thing going on in this bucket. Why are we trying to get out? Come on. And then you get boiled. Yeah, which is. Crab. Very tasty,
I am. Yes, it is. Yeah. My God, I like me some crab legs. But no, I agree, man. In life in general, it's just those self-realizations and self-awareness that I think more folks, whether it's whatever input into your body, if you're wanting to output and be a family man, run a business, do media, do all the things that your heart and set and desire is, sit down. Go to the woods if you got to for 24 hours and evaluate your life and do some self-awareness. Don't get me wrong, I still make mistakes. Everybody does. But you've got to actively try to set yourself up personally if you're going to try and lead anything. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And go ahead.
It's like one of our values is we are what we do. Mm-hmm. It's a newer one. But it's really inputs equal outputs. Like... It's not more complicated than that. You just have to figure out what do I want the output to be? Mm-hmm. What do I want my child to be, marriage to be, career to be, house to be, whatever, faith. You could go down the list. What do I want? Okay, and then you work backwards. Well, what do I have to put in to achieve that? Mm-hmm. A lot of people, they want this. But then you look at what they're putting in, you're like, well, you don't want that.
Nope.
Because
you can talk about it all you want.
Yeah, but I would either be putting more in or adjust your expectations. One or two, it's your decision to make. But there's going to be a time where you're going to be very disappointed because what you're doing, it just doesn't math.
No.
I see that all the time. All the time.
The input, output, and I see you start stacking business. I know we've been talking kind of more personal here, but you start stacking business on top of that and try and output any other expectation for your team members, for your guys. They can tell. When you're – where I was going with that is I struggled with prioritization of my family, my wife, my kiddos, the business. And then, in the last couple of years, this media stuff has kind of kicked up. I had to learn how to prioritize, how to make a list and live by a schedule and a calendar. And I thought, I ain't gonna lie to you, 5 years ago, I would laugh at myself for saying that because, you don't need all that.
Yeah.
But in the self-awareness and self-realizations, it's like, Sy, you keep missing these things because you're not prioritizing. And then, like, now when I set a schedule, it's, hey, babe, what we got going on the next couple of months? What's the kids got going on basketball? And then that goes on the schedule. And then I start, working all the way around that within the business and other priorities past that. But I think it takes some time to figure out, faith, family, then work. And you can, especially when you're trying to build a business from the ground up, it's very blurred lines. Trying to prioritize and ensure that you're inputting to each of those priorities, and not just forgetting your responsibility, not just meeting your responsibilities because they're your responsibilities, but inputting 150%. Man, you said it right, or change your expectations because something's going to change.
Yeah.
So
again, it's like, yeah, I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong for you. I'm just saying something doesn't math.
Nothing changes if nothing changes, man.
Yeah. And like I said, I see that all the time.
I live by it.
If you're looking for another industry event that is a snooze fest, this is definitely not for you. But if you're a leader looking to elevate yourself, your team, looking for like-minded individuals that are hungry, then look no further than the Area Dirt World Summit, November 5th through the 7th in Dallas, Texas. In our third year, we'll have about 1,500 hungry industry leaders from about 500 companies looking to learn, grow, teach. It's going to be fantastic. We also have a world-class lineup. We've got Jesse Cole from the Savannah Bananas, James Clear, Atomic Habits, Kim Scott, Radical Candor, Mark Miller, Chick-fil-A Leadership, Tim Grover, who is Michael Jordan's trainer. You will not hear from a lineup like this anywhere else. So check out details now, dirtworld.com. You can use code Aaron10 for 10% off any registrations, and we'll see you November 5th through the 7th in Dallas, Texas. What to tie a bow on the drinking stuff.
Oh, go ahead.
I just find it's fascinating. But was there like a point in time where you're like, all right, I've got to knock this off? Was it like a slow, let's just dial this back?
No, I'll be honest with you. I will. I'll be straight up and honest with you. We went camping with my family and never talked about this. So exclusive here on the Old Dirt Talk. Come on back.
Go wherever you want to go.
I little bit musically inclined and play a couple of instruments, but I love to sing and just by the fire, drinking a few, and what song you want, and then get everybody singing and carrying on. And we were camping.
To behold.
It is.
Yeah.
I can definitely play the guitar. I can't carry a tune to save my life, but man, they all sound good when you're 24 deep, you know?
Yeah.
And this has probably been 5, 6 years ago now, maybe 4, and it's bad that I don't know the exact date, but I try not to carry it as a milestone. But we were sitting there, and probably 20 of us, and a good buddy of mine was sitting there, and they were agging on, hey, take a shot. And at this point in my life, the liquor was gone. I didn't even mess with that stuff at all. It was just beer or twisted teas. I think it was that night. Honestly, I like them twisted teas.
That's a hell of a hangover.
Yeah. And so I got pretty inebriated, and I was sitting there, and then all of a sudden they switched it out for a Jack Daniel's bottle.
Yeah.
And buddy, I commenced, and I was already pretty deep in. 4 hours later, I start to sober up and start to look at everything. I literally went ape shit, dude. I ripped T-posts out of the ground. I don't remember hardly any of it. Broke my stepdad's rib. Completely embarrassed myself to the point of, what am I doing? And I come out of that camper that next morning, and I looked, and it looked like a dadgum tornado had gone through, across the road there. They had a barrier rope with T-posts to keep people from driving. And for some reason, I went through there and popped like 11 T-posts out of the ground, I broke my chain that my wife had given me, and that, I think, probably messed me up the worst because I couldn't find it. And I did find it in that field searching that morning before we left. But that was it for me, man. That was, wow. You're trying to be a leader of individuals. You're trying to be a leader of your family, and this is the kind of display you're going to do? And it really affected me. And since then, I'll socially drink.
Sure.
Little mixed drink. I won't even touch a beer hardly anymore. It just hurts my dang stomach. Yeah. But man, after that, I really affected the people that I love the most, and I don't like that.
And it was you with that realization. It wasn't like your wife sitting you down at the end of that, be like, hey.
We didn't even talk about it. I was so embarrassed, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's not me.
Sure.
And the big thing with drinking is I would never drink unless I was around people. I say that. I would never go past that point that we've been talking about unless it's people that I trust. Family, good buddies, that are going to deal with me when I get to that point.
Sure. Yeah.
But after that, it didn't matter. It truly didn't matter. When your wife takes the kids to bed just because she doesn't want them around daddy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a problem.
It's a major problem. And anyways, from that point, I just refocused.
Sure.
That was probably one of the largest self-realizations in life. And I'm like, just like you were speaking about, man, if I'm going to sit here and talk about outputting or input to all of these necessary responsibilities within my life, some inputs have got to go.
I think, and that's where I think like shame and embarrassment has a place in life. I feel like people that are just trying to, like, you talk to people that have cleaned up all sorts of things. Oftentimes it's something like that. That's just
100%.
like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
But it has to, usually a lot of times it gets pretty bad and you have to be like really embarrassed to be like, listen, I'm not doing, and it could be something even like public speaking.
Yep.
I mean, or the media stuff, whatever it is, like
Putting yourself out there in general.
Yeah. And that
It
in
terrified
itself
me.
is very motivating because it's like, man, I just ate shit. I'm not doing that again. And then you work harder than ever before to get to a better place. Like, I think it's actually quite to just sit in it's not helpful. To sit in it is does you no good, but I do think it's a pretty powerful tool.
Yeah, and especially if you use it to change your life.
Yeah.
And I'm going to change gears just a little bit here because it's funny you brought shame and embarrassment up because as I'm going to go business side here, over the last year and a half, almost 2 years, I was doing business really wrong up to that point.
Sure.
And didn't know what I didn't know. Started looking for these resources like yourself. And within that, I had to not just put another Band-Aid. If I truly wanted to fix my business for my team, and it's not necessarily that it needed fixed. It ran just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be like everybody else.
Yeah, there's a better way to do it.
100% there is. And there's a new age. And in the dirt world, no offense here, guys, and in the utility worlds, the boomers and the older gentlemen are, in the next 10 years, it's going to be, they got to hand it off. Like, there's new age faces coming and new ways to do things. But the shame and embarrassment that I had to go through for my team and sitting in a room with 7 individuals that I pay, and then I've got this one lady sitting here going, Sy, why do you do this? And I have to sit there and go, I don't know.
That's a good question.
That's a good question. I feed my ego. Like, I'm honest. I was so honest through this, and I had good employees, dude, 5-year plus employees just jump.
Yeah.
I crank the accountability. I crank the uncomfortableness. If we're going to grow, we're going to do it together. But it was everything they were asking for. But I had to walk through, and maybe that moment in my life prepared me to walk through. I've never put that 2 and 2 together.
Sure.
But continually being shamed and embarrassed internally, you literally let this get to here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you just beat yourself up. But anyhow, when your team starts supporting what you're doing and starts recognizing, go, oh man, he just didn't know.
Yeah.
Man, they band with you more than ever. It makes me emotional to even talk about.
But people know like where your intentions really lie, regardless of words. You can say whatever fucking words you want. Mm-hmm. That's what it just makes me chuckle with some of these big companies. They think they can go mold things with these fancy statements. It's like, no one's buying that. Like, that's
not while looking at your actions.
Yeah. It's like, guys, come on. Like this is it's to the point where it's like it's almost insulting. Like, it's you're insulting my intelligence, and you're insulting like your whole workforce in a way. Like, this is a bad path to go down.
You're not wrong, bro.
But people know if you're know if you're doing your best. A lot of people bullshit themselves.
Yes, they do.
But you cannot, at the end of the day, you cannot bullshit yourself. There is just no way around that.
You either won or lost the day.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And, ideally you string more wins and losses together and you end up with something pretty cool at the end. But, one, you can't fool yourself, but you sure shit can't fool people around you as well. And so they know they know if you're genuinely doing your best or not, regardless of what you're saying.
Actions will always speak louder than words.
And that's very powerful. You can really use that to the advantage of yourself and others, I think. But you've got to do the work yourself first.
You have to.
Yeah.
And during this whole transitional period, I'm sitting here looking at, I just want their jobs to run better. Honestly, I just want the team to be able to do what we do smoother.
Yeah.
More streamlined. And through that process, I thought the whole team was bought in. By God, we're doing this together.
Yeah.
Man, I lost several good folks, you know what I mean, along the way. But those were stepping stones to get to where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Because those folks looked at me and you're right, they were wishy-washy. Is he doing this? Is this? And I got to tell him myself again, because myself and Sara, alongside, Sy-Con's only been fixing to start our 10th year in August. So we're very baby compared to most of the companies that come.
Yeah, but a decade is...
It's pretty cool, man.
Enough under your belt. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I'll say, though, something you said was, it was all about you and, like, ego when it began.
100%.
But I don't see that as a problem at all. Because that's how I got going, was like, I feel like that's how most businesses start. It's kind of with like a fuck you. That's what I love about America compared to other countries, is there is this fuck you mentality that just doesn't exist in a lot of other places, for better or for worse. Like, it works for and against us. But I feel like that's important in business. You have to, or when you're doing something new, not even in business, when you're embarking on something, I feel like some of that fuck you and some of that ego is really the only way to get through the early days. I don't think it can carry you forever. I think you have to then transition to like, wait a minute, this is bigger. This is way bigger than me. This isn't even about me. You kind of like, you're the caterpillar and you merge as the butterfly. You're like, whoa, okay, this is. But it's how you got there in the first place as well.
100%.
And so I think like they're always trying to make everything seem fucking noble, and it's like no. I started this business because I wanted to be around machines all the time, and that was the way to do it. There was no I'm gonna go change the world. And I'm going to do it for, we're going to go build this great future team, and I'm going to go change the lives of people.
You're exactly right.
There wasn't any of that. Like, that's ridiculous. I don't really think there's a lot of that in the early days, especially as a young man.
Yeah.
I
was going to go prove everybody wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
But that's like, again, it's not, I don't think you can run on that forever.
No.
I think it can take you down a pretty bad path, but
an unprofitable path.
Yeah, it gets you there, and I think there's a lot of value in that fuck you, watch me mentality.
I want to hit on that real quick because I immigrated. I was 11 years old. My 10th birthday. My 10th birthday, I immigrated into the States, and obviously haven't been all over the world like yourself, but growing up in Canada and elementary school and being around Canadians and getting to come down here. Yeah, you are absolutely right. It is the land of opportunity.
It's Canada's very different. Just the mentality. Alberta has some fuck you.
You bet they do. Come on, boys. Keep it up, Cowboys.
But right and left.
No,
not as much.
Originally from Toronto area. But when I come down here, I look, and maybe God just gave me that little bit of extra edge, because when I come down here, and I think it just feeds into that immigrant mentality, and I understand that immigrant mentality, I'm like, what do you mean you're complaining about your, look at all this stuff you can be doing.
Yeah.
Back to the input-output situation like we were speaking on. I'm just like, you just got to keep going. You just got to start doing something. And the immigrant mentality, man, the opportunity that's spoken about in this country is unbelievable. That you can start literally with an idea and run with it.
Yeah.
And look at you. I mean, literally, I'm from an idea of, I want to be around machines. I really like taking photographs. Boom.
Yeah.
Just starting, and you hit it earlier, or maybe last night, the consistency is everything, whether that's business, whether that's family, I don't care what it is. But discipline and consistency is where you get to where you're going. And guess what? You lose the day, chalk it up as a loss. As long as you've got your discipline set, wins will come back. And wins will string. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But the land of opportunity here, taking an idea, making it into a business, is unbelievable, and no other place on the planet is like it.
No, and I think it's been eroded in America, which is a bummer. We don't really have a middle class anymore. People say we do. It's like, not really.
No. It's pretty hard to find.
But that's what I love about the trades is I feel like it's really one of the only places within the United States economy where the American dream is still alive and well.
More than ever,
which is very cool. Very, very cool. But if you go look at you want to go start a bank tomorrow, go fuck yourself. An airline, a railroad, car company, phone company, everything else is really consolidated.
Yep.
And there's a lot of small business, but it's like the fragmentation of the trades is a problem. It's somewhat screwed the trades in a lot of ways, but it's also the opportunity because anybody can finance a skid steer, a backhoe, a mini excavator, a pickup truck, some tools on a trailer,
literally,
and let it rip, which is pretty damn cool.
And see, a lot of these guys, I speak to a lot of the 1 to 3 year startup guys, and one of their largest questions is, how do you finance all this stuff? When do you buy? When do you rent? When do you lease? All this other stuff. And I'm like, guys, once you get into business and you're just doing just a little bit, it's a signature. It's literally a signature in most cases on a $300,000 dozer to a Mini X or whatever the case it is. But it's up to you to reproduce the income every single month to ensure that it gets paid. Yeah. But literally, once you're on the other side in the LLC realm, it can get nerve-wracking how easy it is to go finance all this stuff. But it's the actual use and production of that turns into money, and there's such a struggle. But that's the excavation side. But, man, we need plumbers, electricians, concrete guys. We're going to need truck drivers eventually here coming very quickly.
Dude, we need truck drivers yesterday.
I know.
That's a huge fucking problem. But, however, the complexity there is automation.
Exactly.
That one...
Scary.
I'm looking at that one. I'm like, at least long haul.
Build them a new highway and just put them on. Hey, on
the same highway. They've got them running on the same highway out west.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They already have automated semis.
I've seen a Tesla.
The technology's there. Yeah. The technology's there. I mean, and I'm not saying all truck drivers are the fucking backbone of the United States economy.
Yep. 100%.
And they'll be around for a very long time. However, you do have the automation question there. That's substantially far along compared to other worlds.
Much rather, though, looking back, you know how much easier it would be to go find master plumbers and finance vans and tools? You know what I mean? Compared to a skid steer and Mini X to get a start. No, you got a $20,000 van. Don't get me wrong. You probably got $20,000-$30,000 worth of tools in that van, but it's two guys. Over and over again. Go to school, go work for a plumbing outfit. Go, if you're sitting here listening to this and you're like, well, what do you mean just start? I'm literally telling you, just start. Go find somebody that knows the trade. Jump in with them. Learn everything you can about that trade. They'll even pay you to go to school, most plumbing outfits or electrical outfits. Go learn that and obtain that trade and you can literally start your dream tomorrow.
But this is where you were saying the early business owners, they just get a little stuck, and it's like all that matters is constant forward motion. That's all that, and you are going to fuck a lot of things up. That is just part of it. It's just and you can talk to other people and see how they did it, and it might be helpful, but the help of that is I don't think all that valuable.
Right.
I just think that constant, like everybody I know that's built anything substantial within the construction industry, it's just been constant forward motion.
And not taking no for an answer.
Yeah.
I've been told no 10,000 times.
They're just relentless. And they've just figured it out. And so it's not that helpful, like just figure it out, but that's how I've seen it done.
You're not wrong, brother.
By everybody.
It's literally, I call it winning the day now, but it's just constant persistence of dealing with whatever problem. When you're smaller, there's more problems. You can't delegate. There's nobody else to help with that problem. You are the answer. But there's two ways you can kind of combat that for the early guy is that, when I was early on, I could have leaned on more folks, fractionally, whatever the case may be, CPA, etc. But we try to just do everything ourselves. We were just talking about this, and I would encourage those guys to do a little research. I don't have time to do any research. No, you haven't.
But that's what I mean by constant forward motion.
Yep.
I don't just mean put your fucking head down and go to work. I think that's part of it. You need to work. But there's a lot of people that work their whole life that end up in the same place they started. That's not the whole thing. The constant forward motion is doing the other things too. And I don't necessarily subscribe to the whole I have to do I'm the one that does everything myself early in the day. Like I don't think that does anybody any kind of service whatsoever. And that just makes you self-important and not trust people, and it just stifles everybody around you. Whereas like in a way I used not to pat myself on the back, but I used my ignorance as a tool. I knew what I could do well, and I stayed in that lane. And I got other people on a contract basis. I didn't hire people the first year of business, year and a half.
Talk about it.
On a contract basis to help out in the lanes that I didn't understand. I didn't need to go understand all these other things. I could just find people and pay them and trust them to stay in their lane. And there's a lot of people that are like, no, you have to know everything. It's like, I don't know. I've gotten this far without knowing a lot of what our business does. And you do have to. You can't just have your head in the sand. You can't be completely unaware.
Doesn't mean you have to be the expert.
Yeah,
either.
but like, and I'm in a different world. So someone could say, "Well, fuck you. You're not a contractor." It's like, yeah, you're right. Good. But the example I have is, hey, there was in the early day photo and video. I'm not good at video. I don't think in video. It doesn't work. It does not work in my head.
Okay.
I didn't do it. I said, I am just going to be world class at this one category, or strive to be. And when I need video, I'm going to bring in people on a contract basis to help. And when I can afford it, I'm going to hire somebody to do it. I'm not going to go try to do it. It's going to make it worse. And it's like, yes, I'm saying no to opportunities right now, but it's also getting you ahead in a way, that discipline. And so I just applied that to design and to websites, et cetera. We don't do that anymore. Now I'm applying it to software and training and podcasts and et cetera. But the best guys I know, again, going back to the dirt world, they've done that as well. They've stayed in their lanes. Like the best companies, they have somebody that runs the field well, and someone that runs the office well. They're two different skill sets.
Oh, yeah.
They're two different skill sets.
And I will tell you, I'm telling you, I'm doing a lot of things differently. I didn't know what a DISC assessment was, and I knew of a personality test, but I had everybody in leadership of my company, admin or field, or indirects. It doesn't matter. I want to know how you think. I want to know why you think that way, how you deal with stressful situations, I wanted to know everything, how they're feeling internally without them having to sit here and tell me. And man, I learned so much from what I was already currently doing that was affecting the same problem over and over again. At 101, my estimator up front, backlog starts dwindling. What do? I run up there. Hey, what's going on? What can I do? How can I jump in? How can I help? Yeah. And from that disc assessment, man, sorry, I may have kind of shot off here on a different leg, but from that disc assessment, I figured this is my number one employee. This was the guy that started this gig with me after 10 years. Like, he's been here since the start. And I just found out in year 9 that me running up there in those moments throws him further backwards than it does propel him. Well, Sy, you getting a bunch of numbers, and you know, from the ego standpoint of myself, it's literally only feeding my ego. It's not, okay, I'm going to run up there, change a few numbers, send stuff out the door to get ink on the paper. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, I just ate some of my profit just to get the job. Like, what's the point in that? How about look at the desk assessment? Okay, I've normally go in here and do this with you, Dylan. Now I'm approaching him, Dylan. Backlog's starting to, get here. What do you need me doing? How can I help you? Mm-hmm. Well, boss, it'd be awesome if you just went through the CRM and just made contact with some of these guys. I'm like, bet. And I'm good at that, bro. Sure. I'm freaking good at that. Yeah. I am not the have to know the reason behind everything guy. Like, Dylan is the best at it. And he's so good to have it at the front of the house because he is asking the question and then asking the 10 questions from that answer of that question before we ever send a number out the door. But me running up there in this little bit of ego downturn for myself, oh, we need more contracts, let's send it out the door, hamster wheel of death, and the production team sitting here going, hey, man, this is a really tight job. It's a good job, but why are the numbers so dang tight? I don't even stand a chance. Yeah. Well, because boss ran up here. Anyways, but entrusting in your people is where I was going with that. And I want to talk to maybe the guy that's sitting there going, these guys are sitting here talking about, but they don't know about so-and-so that screwed me over, or this guy or that guy. I'm telling you guys, both these gentlemen at this desk has been burnt by several people along the way to get to where we're at, and it's going to happen. And I literally am going through that myself over the last year. A lot of really important people that I thought was going to be there to the end. I'm building this for them, bro. Like, my name's in it, but like, I'm doing it for the team. You know? Yeah. And so when they started jumping ship and when they just literally were like, I don't want to do this anymore, it took that so hard. As I am over here, like we're talking, more than ever, trying to ensure that their job runs seamless with input from their job. Yeah. A lot of them didn't want to put input. They didn't want to change. And obviously that...
Yeah, and people leaving it, but it really is just a hit on your ego.
Really?
Because I've been there so many times over. But then it's like, listen, they're not most people aren't trying to fuck you over.
No.
There's those people, but most people, they're not in that category. They're just trying to do what's best for them. And what's best for their future and what's best for their family. And you might disagree with their decision, but they're still making that decision with their whatever's best for them and their family in mind. Yep. And it's like, well, who am I to tell them what's best for them? Right. and even if I did know, it's like, it's still not my decision. It's their decision to make. But I, going back to the assessments, I think they're quite helpful. I just start to get a little anxious for people because I see companies using them as the easy button. They're trying to make people and culture and personalities and past history as something you can quantify and put on a piece of paper. And so, okay, well, Sy took this, and now I know what box to put him within. Great, easy. It's like, that's not how people work. No. And so I think it's helpful when it's another clue, like it's a data point. Yes. Amongst many data points. But if it's the only data point, you put people into boxes, you fuck the person, you fuck the company. Like, that's
And the whole trajectory of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it really does no one it really does everybody a disservice. And so it's like, it's how you're using it's great, because I think you can learn a lot from just listening and working with people, but it is a helpful data point. But again, it's like, let's aggregate everything I've already learned about this person and all the data I already have and what I've already listened to, and then that might help make sense of the data. Oh, okay. And then you can align your actions in a better, more productive way going forward.
Them and you.
Yeah. I get nervous when I see companies doing it like right away. First off, come in, let's get you a disc assessment. Let's get you one of these assessments. And then that almost doesn't give the person a chance.
Right. They have a personality too.
Yeah. Like they start day one in a box, and it's like, again, if you have the right program, that's not the case, but it's a slippery slope. It can happen quick.
I'm a long ways from that, and I can see that though. Now that you're sitting here talking about it, and
people change
every day, man. I've changed.
Yeah,
you know,
that's the fun of it.
But if you're looking. Again, nothing changes if nothing changes. I wanted this year to run better than ever. And so why that all came about is I actually provided my team 15 questions. I paid them this year for their Christmas bonus. I actually did an election with them. I'm like, hey, you want to do bonuses, or do we want to sit at home for 2 weeks and I'll pay you guys from Christmas to New Year's? And I've done that before, and I have families first here, man. This is what I designed Sy-Con to be. It's not a place to do 70 hours. It's not a place to do 60. It's 45 and be with your family. And so they all sat at home for them 2 weeks, and it was some good time for me because I was having me and Sara, obviously Sara, not myself, was having our little baby girl on December 30th, so we needed the time anyways.
Oh, perfect.
But, man, I worked on myself a little bit there.
Yeah.
And day one of that vacation, they all gave me crap about it, but I sent them 15 questions. I sat at an email, and I was like, I got to know more. If we're going to try and go somewhere in the next year, I got to know what's driving them. What's motivating them? What am I doing? What is the company doing? It wasn't like a super in-depth. It was, hey, what are your personal goals for this year? Yeah. Hey, what are your professional goals? I found a foreman who's literally been wanting to be a foreman that I thought for the past 3 or 4 years, finally makes foreman, and it has nowhere on his goals about being a foreman.
Sure.
He's big on being safety and the QC guy, and I'm like, it blew my mind. Huh. But I'm using it as a tool to try and help implement positive change. We have the culture. If you want to talk about culture, I went the other way. I'll take you on fishing trips. I took them to the beach.
Yeah.
But there was no incentive on production to get there, so they knew it was already coming, so it didn't really matter what we had to output. That is not the way. So,
yeah, that again, it's another trap. It's here's your treat. Here's your treat.
Exact.
Like, and again, I'm not criticizing that. Like, fuck, I'd be taking people on fishing trips all the time if I could. I don't have fishing trip money though, but maybe one day.
Neither did I.
But it has to be like on top of the other, like that. On its own doesn't get you a great result.
Yeah. But if they were standing on that boat knowing that the company was profitable for the year because they helped us get there, then they get to stand there.
Let's go.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I knew culture is huge. Family first culture. I mean, a dude can call me at 1:30 on a Tuesday, hey, kiddo, blah, blah, blah. All right, I'm heading to you, or somebody else will move things. It doesn't matter.
You said you asked them if they wanted a bonus or 2 weeks off. Then you said you did 2 weeks off. So did the majority want the 2 weeks off?
Not a single person raised their hand for a money bonus.
No shit. So that's okay. That's interesting. That's good. Because we've done 2 weeks off since we've began. It is. I want to sit here and say it's just the right thing to do because we're great employers. Bill, it's great to work for.
Amen.
But it's just good business.
It is. They get a reset.
They get a reset, and a few days is not enough. And it blows my mind how employers try to work people between Christmas and New Year's, because it's like you are getting nothing out of people, and they resent you for it.
Yeah.
So
Literally. And not only that,
what are you doing?
If you're a pipe guy, this is literally one of the number one reasons that we even consider. We did this a couple years ago as well. But essentially, when you're a pipe guy, the city and the engineers is what you live and die by if you can get production in or not.
Yeah.
Them city officials get 3-4 weeks of vacation every year, and I promise you, they ain't gonna make an inspection between
they don't
Christmas
shit over the holidays.
So send your boys to the house, and
when all the bosses are off, like
that's right,
across the board, everybody's
shooting ducks, and
it's such a shame too, because you're making then people use their time off. Like, well, we give 2 weeks off, so you're making people take 50% of their time off just to have their holidays with their family, which then gives them 50% less time. Like, what do they do during spring break? What happens fall break when their kids off? Summer, their kids are off for 3 months.
Yeah,
like it just doesn't. To me, it's just good business, but like you said, it gives them a reset, even if they don't want it.
Yeah.
In a week, I feel like just isn't enough. Like a 2 week period, it really, and it's crazy because every time it comes around, I say, listen, this is not guaranteed here.
That's right.
We don't have to be doing this. There's nothing that says I should be doing this. We're doing this. It's a privilege. You run to it, you run out of it. Mm-hmm. And if you set those expectations, it is wild how much gets done in December. And it's even crazier how much gets done in January. Like, January is fucking gangbusters for us. Every year. And the number one thing I hear from people is, I had no idea how much I needed that.
Yep. And you know what? You're sitting at the top, like myself, and a lot of guys sitting here listening, and they probably ain't taking a reset in a minute.
And it gives you time off because everybody else isn't
There's
working.
no phone calls, boys.
Yeah, if people, but even if there aren't phone calls, you're still sitting there worrying about shit and safety. And
if you're a good one.
Yeah, you're still thinking. So if everybody's off, then you can be off. Like, everybody wins. Everybody wins.
And, to that point is my family deserves that. And Daddy works very hard throughout the year and is gone working late hours a lot of times. I traveling, whatever. But that 2 weeks around Christmas and New Year's, like, it's everything to me and my family. Why wouldn't it be? I literally sat there this year, and I'm like, on my front porch with the dogs, and I'm like, I'm thinking about all my guys and how they're probably enjoying their time right now with their family. And I have a lot of, not a lot, I have a few immigrants that, by the way, they love working for an immigrant.
Sure. Yeah.
But they go back to Mexico.
Yeah.
And spend a couple weeks down there. So now, okay, to your point, they didn't have to burn their vacation. But if they want to take 3-4 weeks and go down there, there's 2 weeks from the company. They stack, if they've been here 3 years or more, they get 2 weeks. Yeah. Ishmael's working on that this year, and he's going to Mexico for a full month paid off. It's just insane. But in January, for us, as you know, it's dragging, trying to get the year started, where are we doing strategy, productions, etc. And so it's not really as much as the guys running out there and getting stuff done, but you got to prepare for that. But it's a great month for training as they're coming back. And they're actually reset. I know I've said that already, but you can see it on their face when they come back. They're just energized, and they're like, them kids were gonna drive me crazy, Sy, and we're gonna have to do a week next year. I mean, they need it, and they're not gonna take it. A lot of these guys in our world, they're not gonna take a week unless Mama says so.
And it gives them permission to take it off when everybody's off, and you almost have to prescribe it. It's not good for everybody. Like, the holidays can be hell.
Oh, bro.
It definitely can be hell. So it's a time to also support everybody. And I haven't really thought about that as much as I should have in the past. But for most people, it's bad. I think for everybody, it's badly needed. It's just not always enjoyed in the same way.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
But I've spent the past 3 Christmases in Australia. The whole country's off for 2 weeks. Whole country.
Really?
Done. Work done.
And it's summertime during
Europe.
Christmas over there, right?
Yeah. Europe. We're done. And it's summertime, exactly. That's when you're going. No, this is a sacred cow. We're taking the time off. And I really appreciate that. And it's not, I'm not saying like we should make it a federal standard here. But as a company, that just gives you an advantage. Yep. Like I feel like that's an easy win.
100%.
Really easy way to differentiate yourself.
Every single bucket.
Yeah.
Like there's no negative to it other than you're paying guys not to work. But
you've got a plan better.
I would hope so.
Maybe you got customers that are like, no, the fuck you're not working. I get that. I understand.
You hit the nail on the head,
but if
though.
you plan for it.
If you start looking at it in October and going, hey, we're
talking about it in July.
You bet. No, yeah, but I'm saying from a production standpoint, hey guys, look, it's October. Here's our schedules. Everything's got to be done by the 15th of December. We're wrapping stuff up, burying holes, and moving on.
Yeah, your customers
and
they're looking pissed off that their job's done.
And they're out there gassing, giving it everything they've got.
Yeah.
Right here, they're getting a reset. Come back in January. Dude, I'm telling you guys, if you're not doing it, I encourage you to do it because there is so many across you can't find a metric that it doesn't give positivity to.
No, at least 2 weeks is a lot. At least between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's just bad business. Working people between Christmas and New Year's. I get it. If you're law enforcement,
you bet.
I understand.
There's services we need.
If, airline pilots, this and that. Like I get it. Not everybody can just take time off, but. Most everybody in construction, unless you're out there repairing waterline breaks, which isn't everybody. That's important, but it's not everybody. Like
that's right.
Again, they'll come up with 100 reasons why, but it's like, all right, 99 of those they don't have to be true.
I ain't gonna lie though, if one of our utility companies, we do emergency utility work, from 36, 24-inch feeder lines down to 8-inch distribution mains. Like, it doesn't matter. If somebody were to call me during that time, I'm going to go, hey, look, I ain't got much of a crew. I'll come out there. There ain't no doubt about it, me and whoever I can gather. But I need you to understand during this time. But, yeah, the infrastructure's still infrastructure. I'm going to do everything I can. You think I'm going to call all my guys, hey, no, not during that. Like you said, sacred time. It's a good way of putting it, my guy. Yeah. But you still have customers, but guess what? Those customers are probably off vacationing themselves.
They're all hanging out, man. They're all hanging out.
The big boy investors in the private world, they shut down bid invites, man. They shut down second week in November.
Dude, like post-Thanksgiving, no one gives a shit.
No.
It's like, what do you people do? Like, what? How do I get this gig? And the government, too. Like, getting anything done December? Good luck.
You got to have it done before the second week of December.
No, but like
post-Thanksgiving,
like nothing's happening. It's actually crazy. Like this is why I started doing this, because early in business, I'm like, let's go. I'm going to get after it. I'm going to work harder in December. I'm going to get even more done coming up into the new year.
Right.
And it's like, that's great, but no one's doing anything.
Nope.
So like they kind of, pat you on the head. It's really cute. You think anything's going to happen in December, but
it ends up costing the company money to employ people to do nothing.
Yeah, this is a January problem, Bubba.
Yep.
And the government can do that, but small business, hey,
just prepare for it. Yeah. But I will tell you that the benefits absolutely, if you're a contractor going, man, I really don't want to write out $50,000 worth of bonuses this year. Okay, well, give it to your guys. Give this option to them and ask them and your admin staff, hey, what's y'all's thoughts? And you will be very surprised at the answer, I do believe. But like you said earlier, it all depends on your culture and what culture you're already living in.
Exactly.
And what culture you've already set by your actions and not your words.
And that's where I think a lot of people have soured. It's like, well, that's just not how it works here. It's like, yes, you're right. That's not how it works there. Because there's just not that infrastructure from a cultural standpoint. That's a big point.
Because I've seen so many companies. What do you mean you're not working between that time? And it's like, what do you mean you are? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But And these are guys that have been in business 30, 40, 50 years locally. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, how did you get there doing this same thing over and over and over and over again? I question it all the time. I'm like,
yeah, well, I shouldn't even be talking about it because it's like it's a legitimate advantage. It's really nice. Like this is something I should just keep to myself. Like,
yep.
No,
that's literally why I started this.
This is a nice little trick that I have. But it's like, why would I do that? Why? Like, I want to shout from the rooftops how good this is because, boy,
it's a game changer, man.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
It is. But, dude, I gotta tell you, thank you, truly, for pioneering what you've done in our world. Because number one, the awareness of it, but how did you, especially in the early years, as you're walking these job sites, massive job sites, how did you break the stigma of, hey, I'm just wanting to show this off? You know what I mean? In the media on a commercial job site, like for the first couple of years walking around my job sites, people just think I'm crazy with this big gimbal and all this other. But the way you did it, man, opened up doors for folks like me to start and do this, you know? But I wanted to hear a little bit about this stigma as you were first coming through. Did folks really support what you were going on? I mean, obviously they started jumping in once you started clicking, but getting those first couple of companies to really buy in, I mean, was the filming, I guess the question would be, was it discouraged at first when you're trying to break into this stigma? Because it's never been done. Like these, I mean, there's a video once a year, this big job we're doing, look, but not on a daily, weekly basis. Folks out there recording, sharing. Drones are now bigger than ever, you know, actually involved with not just media, but LiDAR and everything else and topos. So I just wanted to hear a little bit about that, my guy. And I think everybody does.
Well, I appreciate it. I don't want to take too much credit because there were people doing it before me. I just thought I could do it my way, and there wasn't many. There wasn't a lot going on, so I arrived at the party at the right time. I feel like, and it's not that novel of an idea either, concept either, because it was already done plenty in other worlds, like cars, for example.
Oh yeah. Trucks too.
Trucks, all kinds of stuff. It had already been done a lot of times over. Nature, animals, all kinds of stuff.
ASMR.
Yeah. So it kind of goes back to like how you talking last night at dinner about comments and other people, etc.
Okay.
I haven't struggled with that very much because I've really just ignored it. Like you really just have to ignore it. Like you have to do whatever it takes to protect yourself from it.
Guard that peace.
Yeah, and so I don't interact with a lot of other people in this world, etc. And it's not, there's nothing personal. It's just like, listen, this is what I need to do to protect myself.
Yep.
And just keep my lane.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah, I don't want to do your thing. I don't want to do anybody else. I just want to do my thing, and I have to protect that as much as possible. And on job sites, I don't know. Are there people that don't want us there? Sure. I'm sure all the time. But I don't even think twice about it because I'm not there for me. I'm there for them. And it's
whether they realize it or not.
Yeah, and some people might perceive that in a very different way because yes, it is me all over the fucking place with the podcast, with the vlog, etc. Like, I get it. I understand. It's my face everywhere. Yes. But I've had to do that because you do need a personality behind what the hell's going on.
Yep.
Like it, but it's not self-promotion. I'm not sitting there at all talking about how good I am, smart I am, etc. All I'm doing, everything we're doing is talking about the industry, and I'm just talking about what I'm learning from the people we're with. And I'm
showcasing.
Yeah, and we're trying to do a better job of doing that in as authentic of a way as possible. But that's always been the intent. I'm not at the job site to go get a cool photo for more followers. Like that's not how and I was even telling you the analytics, like I don't spend a lot of time on them.
Surprised me.
Well, because that's not the goal. Like the goal is to just tell a great story about something I love. The numbers and shit, that's going to take care of itself. If I just tell a great story that's true to
and bring value.
Yeah, that's true to me and the story I'm telling. Like, yeah, and bring value. That's been it. And that, like, when you have that purpose behind it, it's a lot easier to ignore all the bullshit, right?
Agree.
Like, it's like, I don't know, people write bad stuff all the time. Like, I don't spend energy on it at all anymore, because it's like, when you have that, when it's really aligned with you and really aligned with something bigger, it's really easy to not give a single fuck about these people on the internet. Seriously. Like
YouTube is frothing with hate.
Oh, I find it hilarious though. Like it's so funny how angry people are, and it's just like, oh my gosh. I genuinely, like every once in a while, like I get bothered when other people are bothered that aren't used to it. Like we had an example recently where people were writing comments about this other person in the video that were just not fucking cool. And I was going through and deleting all those because I'm like, dude, you can make any comment you want about me all day.
Yep.
Whatever you want.
Yep.
You can like any kind of shade imaginable. Usually it's not even that creative. It's like if you're going to talk shit, at least come up with something funny or creative. Like give me something real here. Like this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like, wow, congrats, like good for you. like you're right. I don't know what I'm talking about. Congratulations. Like that's the best you
Listen to another video,
yeah,
my guy.
Yeah, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like joke's on you. You're here commenting. I don't even know who the fuck you are.
User 8735.
Yeah, but it was a bummer to see another person. Like that wasn't the goal. I wanted to like, hey, this person's so knowledgeable and so excited about what the heck's going on and how they're changing the world. They deserve all the credit in the world. Yep. And most everything was super positive, but they hadn't been in that arena before. So you don't focus on and the positive stuff was so kind and nice and great. And it was really nice, but then you zero in on the negative shit. And I've been in that world for almost 10 years now. So I can compartmentalize it real quick. It's just people on the outside of that, like I feel a need to protect them because that's not what we're here to do.
Yep. And I think you hit the nail on the head with the message, man. The message and how I started this, and but you do have a unique ability in that regard because it does affect most people on their way through, and I do believe that's why some of the great ideas never make it is because of the downtour and or the downtrend of the hate and just internet doing whatever they're saying. But yes, again, self-awareness, self-realization. Yeah. Hey, I call it the 50-to-1 ratio with my guys on projects. Nobody gives a damn about the 50 good jobs you do. They don't care. Nobody cares, bro. But the one bad job, that's all they talk about.
Yeah, but it's also, I find like it's like kind of a boogeyman. Okay. Like it's a lot scarier in your head than it really is.
Agreed. I agree with that. But it's experience, though, of feeling that because at first you're just like, oh, who's going to read this? This guy's going to read that and this, that. But none of that's really happening.
Yeah, and honestly, too, a lot of people talking about that stuff, they're not really the ones doing it. Like, you don't see... Like, you don't see top sports players, for example, worried about people talking shit about them.
That's right.
They're not really talking about it all that much because they really just don't give a shit. Like, they're just at that higher level.
Yep.
And I understand why people talk about it when they're first getting into it. But there's a lot of people that just bitch about it to bitch about it. Like, oh, poor me. I'm getting all this hate right now. It's like, dude, I don't have time. Get out of here.
Yep.
This is amateur hour. That's like we're back in kindergarten.
Yep. Who cares about your problems? Work harder.
Yeah. Like, oh no, people are saying mean things about you on the internet. It's like, welcome to the club. Like, that's just...
You're doing something.
that's anybody on the internet. You don't even you don't even have to do something to get mean things said about you on the internet. It's crazy. Just the kind of shit that gets thrown around online now is wild. And I don't know, maybe that's an ignorant perspective, but it's
it's a very unique perspective, and that's why I wanted to hear it.
Yeah, it's also, I feel like it bothers people when they're not really doing things according to them. They're trying to be someone they're not.
100%, my guy.
I think those are also the people you need to look out for that get really bothered because, they're just not. Like, I've always just been me. So it's like, listen, like a really common insult is, well, I'm not from the industry. I grew up well off. And it's like, yeah, I did. I've said that 100 times.
Yep.
And like, fucking sue me. I didn't choose my parents.
Yeah.
I didn't choose the neighborhood I grew up in.
No,
I just grew up there.
Yeah, bet.
And I'm hearing fucking coasters. We need to get different coasters in here. No, you're like it's happened to a lot of people.
Can I just set it on the wood? Are you good
No.
with that? Okay, nope, fair enough. Here, I'll put it on the ground. Don't worry about
sorry.
it. Nope.
I
would be too after hearing all this.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
Yeah, dude.
But
that's why I asked. You're fine. You're good.
Just put on my phone.
No,
phone case.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You goober.
But it's like I'm not insecure about that again. Like, oh yeah, your dad's paying for everything. It's like, well, I know he's not. He hasn't talked to me in years, so
yeah, you shared.
Or if he was paying, like, great, that'd be
even better.
Like, why would I not? Why would I not pull on that thread? Like, why would I not use that to my advantage? I didn't have that. I've had to find capital elsewhere, and I have from some great people. But yeah, it's if you're just really doing your thing, there's not a lot that people can say to knock you off it.
No,
I feel like.
I was more or less for the audience wanting to get in your head a little bit because you have dealt with it for 10 years. And here I am just, a couple years into this. It's all still pretty new to me. And how do you compartmentalize that? Obviously, I'm not trying to bring attention to it, but it's there. How do you keep moving past it, et cetera? So, but focus on the 50 good ones compared to the one bad one. And that's kind of what I remind myself with. But I would encourage folks to document. It's not about work you can do. It's about work you can document you've done in our world. And I would encourage you, 82% of the global web traffic is now video-based.
Yeah.
I am a big supporter of it.
Yeah, and 72% of that's porn. But no.
I mean, I didn't know that statistic.
No,
but
I'm just bullshitting.
I know, but literally, why, if you're trying to communicate a message, whatever the message may be, just start. But the commercial construction world, I'm not in a huge market. I'm in a large market, but not a huge market in this country. But walking around, shedding light, I just wanted to throw out like some of the benefits from the contractor side. Dude, I've been hiring people off of there. Like the people, they're going to look for resources to make their job better. And if you provide the resource for them, guess where they're going to want to come? Yeah. You start hiring employees. People, I just did a podcast with my three guys. Hey, how do you feel about this? I wanted to know how they felt about it. Like with the cameras flying around. And the answers I got was astonishing. It was, my family, they don't know what I do. I wanted to show them. Yes. And they're 18 hours away. Same with me. My dad, he's 18, 19 hours away. And all my family up in Canada, like they have no idea what I do. So how else am I supposed to? Sure. And we started on that path. But literally, man, I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit of how you've navigated that, the repetitive, frothing hate subject matter, but just don't give it attention and move on is what I'm hearing.
No, but to get around it, just do your thing. Just keep do your, and it's hard. Yes, it takes a lot of work, but just do your thing. Like it's like when people ask, like, how'd you, like, I haven't studied, to my detriment in a lot of ways, but I haven't studied podcasting. I haven't studied photography. I haven't studied YouTube all that much. Like, again, to my detriment in a lot of ways. But I haven't done it So this is where, like, my dad growing up, he didn't read a lot of books outside of his field.
Okay.
He didn't read a lot in general. Like, he read a shitload his whole career, but then he stopped at a certain point because he was like, he would justify it like, I just don't want other people's ideas involved in what I'm doing.
Okay.
And I thought it was like the dumbest thing I'd ever heard at the time. I thought it was just so stupid. But the further I get into this creative work in this world, the more I appreciate that, because it's like what other people are doing doesn't matter, and it starts to influence what you're doing. Like I see it all the time. Like people will be just talking in these weird ways that they don't talk like. Like ideally, if somebody sits like you have dinner with me last night, you're like, yeah, he's the same. Pretty much same guy.
I would hope
he's just as incoherent as he is on podcast. But
same guy, man.
But I hope there's like at least a consistency there. When people, there has to be.
Yep.
And I couldn't have done it this long. I couldn't have bullshitted people this long.
You're following.
If
we'll
there
find
was
out.
an inconsistency, but sometimes you'll see it and you're like, stop trying to do somebody else. Stop talking that. Just you do you, and it's hard, but it's so much more fun that way.
And also too, just pick the thing you're passionate about, and dirt talk. You're passionate about these machines, and I'm passionate about kind of the same folks that you're trying to help build. The dirt world a better place.
Yeah,
like that is such a slogan. But like, there's so many things within this industry that it needs to change immediately.
Yeah.
And we need more folks out there dumbing down the white collar lingo for these skilled trades guys to understand and get past that 3-year point in business. And it's very difficult to navigate without said resources, but I'm extremely passionate, and I hope I share that passion with you. I really just want the next up-and-comers to not have to go through the crap that I went through to get where I'm at. And that was that message. And I've never, through this media campaign, I guess, I don't know even what you call it, I'm literally just doing things to get information out there.
Yeah.
But I think when you are super passionate about something, you don't even have to try because it's already here. It's already nonstop.
Correct.
What I mean?
Yeah.
And there's no scripts. Don't get me wrong, everybody needs an outline. I think I probably wouldn't have lost my train of thought 9 times today if I had myself an outline but
he's just saying that we do actually work on an outline.
Oh yeah, no, 100% they
scripted.
do. Yeah. Word for word if you can't tell. But anyhow, that's just my brain.
But that's where people are like, how do you have energy for this? It's like, it's just what I don't know what gets me going. It's like, I'm a fucking golden retriever and that's a tennis ball. Dude, I will never get tired of that tennis ball, for better for worse. Like, and it's kind of dumb too. It's like, man, we've done this 78 times, exact same thing. You're still just excited. It's like, yes, I know, I am. Am I accomplishing? I don't even know if I'm but it's just like, I just have to chase the tennis ball. And that's different for everybody. I think people take that in a wrong way too. Like, I'll go to these guys 1 to 3 years in construction. I'm of the opinion a lot of these people shouldn't be in business.
Bro, why do you think there's so many coaching programs out there?
Yeah. I just don't think. But I'm saying that not at all as in like a derogatory sense. I'm saying it because it's not in their best interest. Like, it's not what's best for them and not aligned with the life they want to live. And so they're putting themselves through this hell that's not aligned with them as an individual. Like that path alone has to be aligned for you. And I've never doubted it. This is 100% for me. But I'm also fucking insane, and it's come with a lot of costs. Like, I'm not living the typical 30-year-old life right now. Nope. That in a lot of ways is a lot cooler, is a lot more chill. And like some days I'm like, man, that'd be cool. I don't ever legitimately envy it because I know I'm where I should be. I don't look at it like, man, that's something I really want. But it's like, it would be cool to just sit down and watch a fucking football game on a Sunday. Like
Buddy,
that would be really cool. Just have some beers,
2 hours on a couch.
Dude, just 2 hours locked in on a game. Like that sounds sick. Like really, really exciting, but that's just not the program I'm on. And
money is a tool to buy time, and time's dwindling every minute.
Yeah, and and I think most people are better off working for a great business, making a great living, and then leaving the business and going back to do whatever the hell else they want to do. If they're passionate about building canoes, like maybe you don't make a career around building canoes, but you
maybe work for the best one out there.
Yeah, but you work for a great company, great career, make good money. You go back, you can finance your canoe hobby. You've got time for your family. You can then take your family in the canoe and paddle around wherever you want to paddle. Like, it's a dumb example.
No, it's on point, buddy.
But I think that is a way better lifestyle for a lot of people. And so the low barrier to entry in construction, it works both ways. One, it's great because it does allow anybody that wants to give it a shot to give it a shot. But two, it gets people into the game that shouldn't be in the game. And I'm saying this because I see this not just in construction, but also in the creative world. Like, there's just so many creatives. It's just bad for them.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Even if they're making good money, like, it's just not healthy.
Mm-hmm. Like, my brain is so, I'm telling you, I am the furthest thing from a creative mindset. Like, I can barely draw a stick figure. Like, it just never, but then Will, shout out to Will, my content guy, he like looks at me, he's like, hey, write a post about this. And I can sit there and just write a post about it. He's like, what do you mean your brain's not creative? That's gold. But I have the analytical, the result driven, where are we heading to? I mean, that's everybody, but that's the way my brain works. So if I start trying to do creative things within the business, guess what? It's probably going to go straight to the bottom of the priority list for me. Yeah. And it's never going to get done. Yeah. Give it to somebody with a creative brain, support and empower them, and it gets done as you're doing your other things that are on the priority list,
Yeah, but I think everybody has a creative brain.
Has to, in some sense.
In some ways. I think even we put, and I just did this, you put creativity into a box. And like, someone saying I'm not a creative, like, that to me just bums me the fuck out.
Okay.
Because it's so cool to create. Like, everybody, you should create. And there's so many, I think that's where so much misery comes from in the world right now, is there's so many people, all they do is consume. They just consume. They're working in a career that doesn't really add value. They're scrolling social media. They're drinking. Like, they're just, all they're doing is consume. And I don't think that's good for human beings.
I don't think it's healthy.
No. I think we really should create and add and make the world a better place. And that looks different for everybody. But that's a creative process. Mm-hmm. I just think there's a lot of people consuming.
And that's literally, I was one of those people. I can't say all the way down to what we're describing, but I was looking for the resource to consume. You know what I mean? And not exactly what I wanted to find out there for what I think. And I'm just sitting here on one hand telling you I'm not a creative brain, but like, I've got all this media stuff happening behind the scenes that I have to be a creative brain on. So to your point, yeah, I got a little bit of creativeness in there, but nothing compared to across the table.
Oh, no. But I think business is a creative endeavor. I think pipelaying is a creative endeavor. Okay. It's all creative. Like, construction is creative.
The way you get it done, yeah, it's always different.
Yeah, you're not creating what the end product is going to be. I need a pipeline from here to here, and if you don't do that, we've got a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Right? And I need it per these specs, but they don't give you the manual, the instructions sheet on how to get it from A to B. Methods, yeah. And there's some rocks in the middle. I didn't know there were going to be rocks in the middle. And if you weren't creative, it'd just be like, sorry, there's rocks. We can't put this from A to B. But that's not you immediately go to, well, how do we get the rocks out? We need a solution. We need a creative, like, that's the creative process. It's all creative.
You may have just detoured my mind a little bit on maybe not being as creative as I thought I was.
Oh, I think people in construction are some of the most creative people out there.
I am a big, with my team, don't bring me problems.
Mm-hmm.
You want to bring me a problem? That's fine. Just have a couple of working solutions. Well, I'll sit here and we'll talk about good, bad, pro, cons, whatever, to all of these solutions. But for the love of God, don't just bring me the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For years, as you're building a business, you are the problem solver. And then you start training people on how to deal with said problems. But at the end of the day, you're right, my guy, because by the time it gets up to you, it's usually a giant problem, and you've got to find a very creative solution on your way out.
Sure.
So,
but hopefully you're at this point you're the creative problem solver for the bigger problems.
oh yeah.
You know, if they're bringing, hey, there's some rocks in the way, like hopefully that's something somebody else can figure out at this point.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Like you're more so like, hey, we're losing our ass on this job. We're underwater.
Yep.
We've got serious, like at that point you're getting involved. You're solving the problems other people can't.
That's right.
But it's all creative.
Made me rethink that a little bit, brother.
Yeah. I think people, they just define creative as like, well, I can't write. And then it's like, okay, yeah, you can't write because you haven't practiced writing. Like, yes, I'm not worth shit at 3 free throws. But if I practiced free throws, every day for the next year, I would be pretty good at free throws.
Yep.
At that point.
Yep.
It's the same damn principle. Like, oh, I'm not good at writing. I'm not good at speaking. I'm not going to communicate. It's like, what? Like and as a leader to say that, like, that's great because that's your job.
I've never even thought of it that way. Literally.
Your whole job is to communicate.
That I've got on point, but the creative, solutions are absolutely creative. That's crazy, man. Literally those problems. Yes, I think a lot of guys miss that too, that all the problems don't have to be your problem, but you need to start training people on your way to navigate, to deal with those problems. But those same people, a big problem for, say, somebody like me, a foreman who's wanting to step up into the superintendent role, well, you got to know how to email. And you got to know how to write an email.
Yeah.
And everybody's so scared to death of an email. Aaron, dude, I had no idea how to write an email. Mm-hmm. Hello, I need this. Thanks. At the start, until people started, hey, why don't you have a signature? Hey, you don't know what you don't know.
And hey, we don't, let's complete sentences.
Please,
two, we don't need a novel.
No.
If it can be 2 sentences instead of 12.
Yep.
Let's keep it 2. But it's not. It's basic principles.
It is.
But you just assume they know how to write an email because I know how to write an email.
Yeah, and they just look at you and they're like, "Boss, I never wrote an email in my life."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, here, boys." And I can't tell you the amount of times that I have sat down and send an email to myself. You're gonna say, "Sy, this is what's happening on my project. What should I do?"
Mm-hmm.
Send. Just try that. That right there is going to be your new documentation method with me. That way, if there's a problem arise, as long as it's in my inbox, you're probably a lot of the same way. If it's in my inbox, I got to deal with it on my email. But if you shot me a text 2-3 days ago, or we had a 5-minute conversation about a problem, that's not going to do it. Email it up or document or whatever. But as long as I've got it there, I can come back and we can work on it together. And so just literally getting these guys non-creatives, okay, if we wanted to walk down that path, these non-creatives saying that they're non-creative, I can't do an email, I can't do all this, I can't do that. But all it takes is just a little bit. Number one, employers, training, down to sending an email. If he doesn't know how to send an email, sit with him, teach him.
Or there's the forever conflict between the contractor and the inspector.
Right.
I'm sure no one's ever been there, have a difficult inspector that's just not wanting to pass anything you do, or it happens all the time.
Or you lose tens or hundreds.
Yeah, but whoever's leading things out in the field, all they have for that problem is a hammer. And then you're upset because they just took a hammer to the situation. It's like, well, that's all they have in their toolbox is a hammer. And a hammer works when you're laying pipe. Like you do need a hammer.
You gotta hit some stuff every once in a while.
You just gotta get shit done, man. It's just hard work. It's hard work. And anybody that's been in a ditch laying pipe understands that. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't do you as much good when you're talking to the
bolting bolts up or anything.
Yeah, the inspector, you want to call some really, really bad words. And you could be totally justified. But then again, it's like there's a bigger picture. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to prove we're right to this inspector? Or are we trying to just get this job done, build a relationship with this inspector customer who we, odds are, probably going to have to work with again?
Oh, no doubt, bub.
And so even if I have the ability to make him eat shit here, that's not going to serve me all that well down the road. But even that, like, that's very, and especially sitting here talking about it, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
But out in
the real world,
August, and it's miserable, and your schedule is already blown out of the water, and it's still not done, and the inspector's been an asshole for the past month, like. It's a lot harder, but it's impossible if there's no other tool than a hammer. And that's part of it as well. Like, cool, we're going to elevate this person to a crew leader, to a super, whatever. But do they have those tools to have that conversation? Because that's more important than knowing how to lay pipe.
Yep. Or the opportunity to obtain those tools.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think, seriously, I was the guy that would get mad about them trying to use a hammer on a different kind of problem. They didn't have the right tools. A couple years ago, 3 years ago at this point, all right, let's start cross-training and how you guys understand admin. And so we're a lot further than most when it comes to that point in a decade-long company. I understand companies with 50, 60, 80 years have definitely got different systems as well. But no, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. And if you don't, not just physical solutions, but up here, mental solutions. And what I tell my guys all the time, hey man, don't bring me a problem. That's great. But we don't argue with inspectors. Yeah. That's what I tell my guys. It is not your job to argue with that guy. It is your job to put in the ground, well, my plans say this, boss, and he's telling me to do this. Well, that's fine. We're going to have to get involved and have a conversation and et cetera. But if we've got one in our working area that is bad.
I'm sure.
Really, really
Everybody
bad.
has one
You
that's
bet.
bad. Yeah.
And we can go down there and we'll do the same task 3 times the exact same way, and then finally we'll pass. I mean, it's crazy. But when those problems arise, yes, sir, absolutely, we'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And if it becomes a direct money issue, well, yeah, hey, Brent, what's the deal, man? What are we not doing? Explain to me, because I don't want to keep repeating this.
Yeah.
Well, if he's just, and a lot of those guys are sitting there, well, he ain't going to tell you. You're right, he's not going to tell you. He's just going to keep you guessing because he's a miserable, guy in general. But let me come down there, have the conversation, try and learn, try and build that relationship for my guys so that the next time they run into this guy, hopefully he comes out there with a little better mindset of, hey, I know the owner of this place.
Yeah.
I met him.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit. There is guys like the guy I'm talking about. It won't ever change him, not even a little bit. Uh-huh. But at the same time, there is guys out there that will give you the view and personification of, hey, these guys are actually trying. Yeah. Okay, they're not just sending guys out here. Dude came out here, had a discussion. This was my problem. He provided solution, and we move forward.
Yeah, there's no downside to trying to improve that relationship.
You have to.
And even if they really are just this troll that has nobody that loves them, that is just, they have this bitterness inside them that is just biblical. There are those people, just crusty as it gets.
Yep.
You still have power in that situation. You can get all pissed off about it all day, or you can just be like, hey,
what we got to do?
This is the 3rd time we've done it. I'm not going to let Mr. Troll get me all worked up because it's just not worth it.
That's the 100%, dude. And I can speak on myself, like at first building a business. What do you mean this guy? But I think it also goes back to what you were saying earlier about ego.
Yeah.
Because you have this ego about you. Oh, I'm boss man now. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, every single time I've walked up to an inspector pissed off and this is how it's going to be, it always ends up 4 times as bad for me.
You got your shield up.
You
Let's
bet.
go to fucking war.
You bet.
And what do you get? You get
nowhere.
a war.
You get a war and you go nowhere.
Yeah.
But if I walk up and go, hey, man, just like you said, I'm just trying to understand. Where are we going wrong? In what step of the process? Because I want to, you see that guy over there? He's really frustrated because this is the 3rd time you're asking him and you haven't provided any insight as to what he's doing wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to tell me how to do my job. I'm not asking you to be peace. But when I get to the end result, it's not what, it is what the book says it can be, but it's not what you think the description of that book says it's going to be. So I'm just trying to understand. And a lot of guys, you're right. The troll, I think I'm going to call him troll from here on out.
But you can even understand, again, say you have no sway over that individual. You can even start to predict, though, what they're looking for and what really gets them going. And then it almost becomes a game. Like, wait a minute. All right, he was a royal pain in our ass on this T or whatever it was, back here, this hydrant. I don't know what it was. And so we are going to make this the best damn hydrant this guy has ever seen this side of the Mississippi. Like, this is going to be a fine
We're
hydrant.
proud of our hydrants.
And you can almost make it into a game at that point. Like, let's make it really, really damn hard to find a problem with this. We know already what he's had problems with. Like, there's just
pet peeves.
There's so many, there's so many angles you can take it to control the situation. And again, it's so much easier us sitting around just talking about it right now.
Bruh.
It's way easier. I'm not in ankle deep mud right now. It's not 100% humidity. Like, I haven't been dealing with this guy for a month. And I'm not losing my ass on this job. Like, it's way easier said than done. But it's something to strive for.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you've just, like we were saying earlier, it's taken the little steps to win the day and stringing those wins together. But when you're losing 20, 30, 40, 50 grand or 100 or 200 grand or millions or whatever, and this guy is just continually being a royal pain in the ass over this one subject matter, and you've tried to approach the situation differently.
Sure.
It's still... Put yourself in those shoes walking up to this guy, not wanting to take his head off with that hammer you said we've only got.
It's some low-level government employee between you and payroll.
You know what makes me so freaking mad, dude?
That's brutal.
In Arkansas, and I don't know how these are across the states, but to be a water distribution technician, okay, to work for a water department in the state of Arkansas, you have to have a license eventually after OJT called a water license, distribution license, treatment license, whatever, and it has to have active hours on it. And so I got that. I was 19 at the first municipality I worked at, and I've kept on to it. Done my continued education every year when I mean kept up with it. But I'm one of the only contractors in the state that has contractor's license and that license. And this same inspector I keep circling about, he will come out there, you're right, low level employee, really high in that world, in that regard.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he has zero regard for your life, zero regard for what's going on in your world. He does not care.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have to find that middle ground and move forward and try to get out of there with a little bit of education, I guess, is where I'm trying to get with that.
But it does, but you have to play this game mentally of like, I find it's almost like a game. Like, I'm not going to let this person get to me.
Can't.
I am dictating this situation. And even if it doesn't look like it on the outside, I really think like a situation like that, you have total control over when it comes to how you treat the situation. You have no control over the other person. Mm-hmm. And even the situation, big picture, but you have total control over your response and actions regarding the situation
and your emotions.
Yeah, and that's what I love. And I love even it's like a game. Like even for example, like in the airport when people like there's a flight delay and people are getting all worked up, I'm intentionally like I'm going to have no emotional response. Zero. I'm not going to give a single shit. Like this is a game. Look at all these people their night's just ruined right now. They're all, oh my gosh, they're so upset. What are we going to do? And yeah, I might be sleeping in the airport tonight, but I'm going to have as little of an emotional response as possible. And it's, I don't always succeed. You know, sometimes when it's midnight and you're in Detroit, you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, I just want to be home. But
come on, Delta.
But yeah, Delta. Yeah, sorry,
No,
Delta.
they're
all guilty.
Yeah.
They're all as
100%.
guilty as the next guy. But it's like to me, I make it into a game. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not gonna let this situation or this person take from me. No way. Nope.
Can't, man, because then it starts affecting who you are for your people.
Yeah.
And not just inspectors, but bankers or anybody else that's influencing you in those games per se. It's always a game. And it is fun, dude. It's a fun game to play.
Yeah, you have to, exactly. But you have to make it into a game or else you're going to go insane.
Yes, that's where I was going with that.
You got to have fun with it.
Yep.
It has to be a game.
You've got to find ways to win at this game and be okay with the losses when they do come.
Sure, but that's part of the game.
You bet.
As long as you don't lose the whole thing.
You bet. Or just lose all season because that gets really tough.
Well, yes, sometimes losing is a prolonged period. But, I'm just saying that because I spent enough time there. And if I was still there, I'd be jumping out the window at this point.
Me and you both. It's too much.
It's too much.
And if you don't find ways to make it essentially fun,
it's
not necessarily fun, but it's fun in its own regard. You know?
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Where can people find what you have going on in the internet world?
Okay. YouTube is kind of our main source. Sy-Con, SY-CON, and Excavation and Utilities. We put up a couple videos there a week. And I also am the host of BlueCollarBusinessPodcast.com. You can listen or watch from there. Totally free, or find it on any subscription that you're on.
Nice. Yeah. Has it always been? It's always been that title.
Yep. Blue Collar Business Podcast.
Blue Collar Business Podcast. I feel like someone else reached out at a certain point. I don't know.
It's probably me.
No, I don't know who it was, but they're like, hey, we have a new podcast and we named it something like it was like Dirt Talk.
Okay.
But we didn't know your podcast existed when we did it. Like, do you have a problem with that? And I'm like, no, I don't. I have no recourse. You can go name whatever and even if I did, like, I've got better things to do. You can go name whatever you want. You could go take my name, Aaron Witt. Like, for all
Build Witt 2.0.
Yeah. Have at it. But I was like, hey, I would just, if I were you, make it something different because we've got like 500 episodes. So from an SEO standpoint.
Good luck.
But no, so right on. All right. Stupid story, but thanks for stopping by.
It was not a stupid story, dude. I've had a blast. I thank you for the invite, my guy, and thank you for all you do.
Yeah, likewise.
Seriously.
I don't put any pipe in the ground.
No, I know, but you showcase and you highlight the folks that do.
Yeah.
And you've pioneered for folks like me to feel okay about broadcasting it.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
It's a big deal, man.
Well, it was me for a brief amount of time, but it's thanks to a lot of really damn good people.
Yep.
Really talented people.
I wouldn't be sitting here this morning without a damn good team myself, you know? And I think it's the mindset of finding that out quickly rather than trying to do everything yourself. And even though you build a great team, then you start dealing with on the business tasks and still try to shoulder them all. Don't do that.
those people just stress me out.
I'm sorry.
They're just hard to be around.
I was
like that. Like, but they're really hard. They're
genuinely
hard to be around.
I pushed people away.
They're so stressed out. Their phone's going nonstop. and it's just I've got to go over here and I've got to go over here. Like there's a lot of those people.
Yeah.
They're so stressed, and it stresses you out to just be around them.
I was I pushed some good friends away because I wasn't taking the time for myself and learning from my own and having those self-realizations. Hey, dude, breathe.
Yeah.
Prioritize.
Yeah.
Schedule.
Yeah.
List this crap out, and you won't be so stressed. It's really stressful when you try to do what we do disorganized.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my gosh. But
yeah.
Sorry, we can probably go off on another subject.
We could, but no. Thanks for coming.
No, thank you.
Right on.